We just got another reveal for Dragon's Dogma 2 by IGN First about the character creator, and it is everything that fans of the first game wanted and more. We've already had a soft reveal of the character creator in the previous Capcom gameplay showcase, but in today's video we'll be covering some new footage released by IGN as well as some new details that we found out about how exactly you can tweak your character before ever setting out on your adventure. So to start, let's get into the character creator here and we'll go over some additional details later. For starters, we have two body types for each race, human and beastren, and of course male and female for each. Immediately after this selection, you have 9 body sizes per body type that you can select. That means a total of 36. And once you're past the body size comparison, you can then head straight into the base head variations, and this will allow you to select a base head with branching options 3 more times to get just the right look that you want to start out with. Once you have your final selection down, it is then up to you to tweak your character as much as you'd like, and you can even make abominations. I have seen the options in the sliders. Basically, according to Itsuno, the general philosophy of this character creator is to give the player the clay that's needed to mold each character without requiring them to be a world-class artist to then mold that attractive face they want. There is enough detail here for the character designers to really go crazy with each character, and there's also enough leeway and enough tools available for each player to make it as easy as possible to make the character you want to make. And there's plenty of additional features and details you can use in the character creator from the first game, such as scars, war paint, and even elf ears again. Elf ears in particular are a feature borrowed over from Dragon's Dogma 1 that didn't really amount to anything given that elves were a cut feature from the game. Although now in Dragon's Dogma 2, while they haven't explicitly called out any differences for choosing elf ears over regular human ears, there is a separate elf race that you can encounter in the game that has been showcased, and there's even a language barrier now, so it's unknown if choosing elf ears will actually alter any dialogue options, similar to how humans and beastren will have different dialogue options and perceptions given which region you happen to be in. And speaking of beastren, they operate similar to how the human character creator works, except this time you get to color their fur in any way that you'd like. The game devs seem to copy over many different types of cats that they can find in real-life scenarios, and for humans they have acquired over 100 face scans to make the variations as believable as possible. Of course, that's all the superficial stuff out of the way, but what we also have is height and weight that's returning back for Dragon's Dogma 2, and they will matter as they did in Dragon's Dogma 1. In Dragon's Dogma 1, the height of a character affected walking and jogging speed, but didn't really affect any sprinting speed. You could also affect different ways to climb onto different surfaces, and hitboxes were affected as well. Of course, as logic follows as well, for longer limbed characters, weapon reach would be increased. In a similar way, heavier characters had a greater carrying capacity, a greater starting stamina, but also a lessened stamina regeneration rate. They could also use their weight to press down pressure plates in many different areas a little bit quicker, which could also be achieved by gathering many pawns next to you to help as well, so there are many different ways that this could affect your gameplay. And lastly, there's also the feature that male and female characters will have different interactions with the world in Dragon's Dogma 2. For example, for female characters, you're in a bit of bad luck if you go up against an ogre because they tend to get really riled up whenever females enter the picture. This type of feature wasn't really evident in the warrior gameplay that IGN First has shared with the fight with the ogre, but that is because there wasn't a single female in the character's party, which was an interesting detail that they managed to leave out to leave a sort of surprise for any unsuspecting players. Of course, this doesn't only apply to the character that you create for yourself, this also applies to pawns that you can send to fight with other adventurers as well. And even beyond the character creator, which by itself I know that I'm going to spend hours and hours in just tweaking my character just right to get it where I want to be, this definitely lends itself to a much better picture for the game overall. You see, before, as with character creation and other features of the game in Dragon's Dogma 1, it was very heavily limited by hardware. In particular, with the character creator, beastren were actually meant to be in Dragon's Dogma 1, but were not able to be put in due to hardware limitations due to rendering fur on each individual beastren character. It simply wasn't feasible in 2012 when the game was made in the way that Dragon's Dogma 1 wanted to implement it. And as with the beastren, many other things were cut as well, such as the elf race altogether, as well as many different quest lines and even the landmass as well. Harkening back to my previous video about the Sphinx, it really just goes to show that the open world that they're creating this time around is much bigger than the one that they created last time. In fact, at one point, Dragon's Dogma 1 was intended to have a final mission on the moon, and the Blue Moon Tower was meant to be something that spanned across all universes. Of course, all that was cut due to hardware constraints and as well as storage space. So now that we get all these features this time around in Dragon's Dogma 2, it only leaves me wanting more for the future release. So tell me guys, are you excited for what's coming in for the character creator for Dragon's Dogma 2 as well as the larger world in general? Please let me know down in the comments, and with that, I will see you guys next time. Have a good one.